Greetings from the right coast. This is Mad Chad. So what we're going to talk about today is rats. Rats and mice. Yeah, the good stuff. This, I believe, especially with preppers, are going to be very, very important to deal with this. Because a lot of our foodstuffs that we're prepping for long term, they set and they're susceptible to rats and mice. And we'll talk about the different types as well. Not much, but a little bit. So, getting to know your foe, getting to know your pest. Rats like to be cautious. They're very cautious. They like to make sure that the coast is all clear, and then they go forth and do their damage and madness. Mice, on the other hand, are very, very curious. Very curious in nature. They're always running around, and they see something, they smell something, they go to it. They too have the same traveling mentality as the rat, where they like to map out the area and use the sides and feel along the sides, and there's rub marks. Their droppings are different as well. And both of these creatures can get food or can get water from their food. So they're always on the search for water, though. Any kind of water source, they will definitely exploit that. So one of the things that they need is food, water, and shelter. That is basically, the creature comforts. And that's all that they really much need. And they will find a place to stay and live. Rats don't like to... They can hang out, but what they like to do, rats, males and females, let's talk about that. Rats, males and females, and you got your Norway rat, you got your roof rat, you got your wharf rat, and they differ in size and a little bit in their behavior, but not much. If you see a rat, try to identify the sex of the rat, and that will be very telling. Female rats. They like to run around. They're always constantly running around and searching. And so they're the ones that you're mostly going to see until they get pregnant, and then they're going to go off somewhere and have a litter. Male rats, they like to sit around, rest up and hang out, because they do all the heavy gnawing and all the brown cows. So they mostly sit somewhere. They go out. They'll go out and get some food. Come back and they're like couch potatoes, like most men. Want to sit around and eat Doritos. They don't really like to bring stuff with them wherever they're going. They might, if they can get away with it. If it's a large population of rats, they're going to eat it right there. And they're going to run away because they know, and a bunch of other rats are going to try to come get it. The female has a litter, and she has stress upon her, so she has her litter that she's trying to protect from daddy and other male rats who are looking for an opportunity to eat their babies. This happens a lot. I know that's the way it is. It's rats. Bugs do the same thing as well. The males will eat their babies, but eat their offspring. But hey, so going with that, if a female is running around, she has to find food for herself and for her litter, who are nesting somewhere in a secure location away from the male. And she is doing her thing, running about trying to gather food and trying to gather food and be on the lookout for the male who's trying to eat her babies. So the male that comes out, he only comes out just enough to come and eat his fill, and go back and sleep it off. Now there is a hierarchy, with alphas and alpha and things like that. So the male rat has to fight. He has to fight off other male rats for his territory or things like that. But a lot of times if there's a huge population, they will band together like a pack and work for a common goal. Say, chewing through a floor to get to the goodies, or chewing through your containers, your PVC your 5-gallon buckets full of rice. The thing is, if it's food grade or something, they smell really good and they can taste the air. So when you're doing your preps, make sure that they're very secure and very clean. With these food grade buckets that you get from the restaurants, you got to clean it very, very thoroughly and get that smell out of there. And you can do that in many sort of ways. Pressure washing, bleach, scrub. I mean scrub, because that food bucket was stored with food in it for a long freaking time, and that stuff is seeped into that little membrane of the container. Plastic is notorious for hanging on to stuff like that. Stainless steel, sealed cans, glass. Yeah, glass, and your canning stuff. That should be okay. They can chew through the tops of your can, the metal portion of your can, and they can knock over stuff, and that can also lead to them, boom, opportunity knocks. They knocked over a can of your food that you've canned, and it's all over the floor. I have seen that. But mostly what they like to go for is the good stuff. They'll go for grains, they'll go for rice, they'll go for feed, they'll go for flour, they'll go for bread, meats, anything that's stored, they will try to get to it. So what will help you is to make sure that your containers are thoroughly cleaned and secured, and you need to inspect them. You need to constantly inspect them. Once a month, do an inspection. Come through. That's what we used to do. We would come through with my little flashlight, and that's why I have hundreds of flashlights. Streamlight, best one out there. Get it. And I love their guarantee and their warranties and their customer services, bar none, and they're American made in the USA. I'm not. That's what I promote. I will promote United States all the way, especially with Streamlight. Olight fucked me many times over, because we try to get like all their, because they do have a good flashlight. It's fairly robust, it's fairly bright, it's kind of cheap. Some of it can get pretty damn expensive. We even checked into Surelight, and I'm talking about for a fleet use, so rechargeables and so yeah. Good flashlight is a must for inspection, so you can see what kind of damage there is. You're looking for little black droplets, but little black droppings. There's a smell if there's a rat, because of the rubbing on the walls. You'll see little black marks, especially on corners. You'll see that, and any kind of gnaw marks, any kind of scratching and gnawing marks. On your buckets or into your, I would suggest buckets if you have them outside. I would suggest that you bring them inside, or if they're outside, then they're thoroughly secure. The structure that you have them in is thoroughly secure. Any kind of caches can be okay if you're going to bury it, and make sure. But then you're dealing with a whole nother level of storage there. I've heard stories of people using tomato juice, and there's other things like they coating it in creosote and anything like that, or packing grease, or in very highly, if the population of the rats are high. So rats, and once you get rats, then you can hunt them. You can hunt them. You can trap them. You can poison them. I have to tell you we've done rat cleanouts where the idea we used a liquid called liquid tox. I'm gonna be throwing a lot of this stuff out at you. I am in no way, shape, or form a pest control operator at this time. I've lost my license, so yeah, I can tell you whatever I want. I can consult for free. That's right. So before I had to not say anything, not do anything. Now I can say it. I can tell you exactly what to do. And they're going to hate this. They're going to hate this. And some of this stuff, okay, yeah, it's a controlled substance, but you can get it on Amazon. You can get it on eBay. You can get it on Craigslist. I don't know how many times I've walked into a client's hotel room or restaurant and seen a bottle of our stuff. I'm like, hey, how'd you get that? You're not supposed to have that. Wait, how? He's like, oh, I got it on eBay. No shit. Yeah, you look it up. No shit. It is expensive. The stuff can get expensive. And always read the label. So dealing with rats, the shit to have is liquid tox. It's extremely dangerous. It is categorized as dangerous. There's a categorization in the in the whole thing. Caution, you know. This is dangerous because it is a liquid. You pour it into a tray and you put it in a secure location where the rats are going to be, where the rats are going to find it. It's a sweet tasting, sweet smelling kind of liquid, and it kills them dead because they like sweet, liquidy, syrupy kind of shit. You know, I have so many stories. I went there one time I went to this hotel here on the beach one time, and they said that they heard that we might have a mouse. Like, oh, okay. And so I'm looking around this place. And it was a rental property, like a condo kind of rental property, a condo building, big condo building with a bunch of condos in it. And the people had already cleared out, so maintenance and all of them had sent me in. And so I'm looking around and I smell syrupy kind of smell. And I look over at the counter or at the cabinets, and sure enough, there's syrup dripping out. I'm like, what the fuck? And I open it up, and there was some pancake mix and a bottle of syrup, and the rat had already eaten the bottom portion of the box. Plus, I mean, in the package, he had eaten all that, and the syrup, he had already just gnawed right through the bottle of syrup and was licking it up. I caught him in the act. So be careful when dealing with rats. They are rodents. They do have very nasty bites, and they will cut you. Even their scratches can be deadly, or can be harmful. And they're very fast. And what they do, if they attack you, is they run around your body and chew. And that's how fast they are. And they can chew you to the bone in seconds. They can. And I mean, it's fucking nuts how they fight. So sorry, I'm cussing a lot. I'm trying not to cuss on this one. Fuck it. Who cares? Anyway, rats. Yes. So dealing with rats, securing your stuff. If you have a cooler or something of that nature, or even one that's not in use, you can store your stuff in there, a secure location. Make sure that that everything is clean. That there's no if you use your preps, make sure that you clean all that stuff up, wipe it thoroughly, clean it. So your cleaning supplies are going to be very, very important. This is where the cleaning supplies, the prepping of cleaning supplies come in. Going back to the liquid tox, we had to wear special gloves. we had to wear just a regular face mask, not a gas mask or anything, just a regular face mask because, and you don't want to touch anything. If it gets into your skin, it can soak into your skin and it can harm you. If you have it on your fingers and you're touching your face, picking your nose, rubbing your eyes, in the pest control industry, we learned never touch your face ever, 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 and never touch down there, ever. I've done both and paid for it dearly. With the liquid tox, it's even worse because it could kill you. It could make you sick and kill you. So, yeah, liquid tox, good stuff. And we would use that on rat cleanouts, put that out, and we would put out glue boards. Glue boards we'll also get into, and traps, snap traps in particular. My favorite is the T-Rex trap. So I'm going to be giving you a lot of information here. Please take that into consideration. This is a T-Rex. I don't know if you can read that. It might be flipped. Oh, anyway, T-Rex. This bad boy is awesome. It's got a little paddle right there. It's got a little reservoir so that you can put your bait in there, which I use. I've had this for years. It is old peanut butter. I'm not going to open it, but you put it in there. You want to take this thing, you want to hold it like that. Okay? Because when you release this, see if I can do it with something. It's amazing. It's truly amazing. Yeah, okay, here we go. So, this is the T-Rex trap. Yeah. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. And the great thing about this too is that you can it has little holes everywhere. And you can take zip ties. You can put it on a pipe, zip tie it right into a pipe, and if they're using that pipe to go in and out of a place, they like to go up in the roof. Norway roof rats, they like to live in the roof. That's why they call them roof rats. You can use that, and there's so many uses for this. And I'll just take some bait, put it in that little reservoir right there, just enough. You don't want to put it on the paddle, because that's the trigger. You want them to get up in there and get up in there and get that bait. You can use liquid tox. But this is, you want to use peanut butter, or if they're whatever they're eating. If they're eating rice and chicken, definitely. But peanut butter is usually the go-to mainstay staple. This is actually crunchy peanut butter. It doesn't matter. I like to put a little, I like to keep it a little nutty for them. But peanut butter is peanut butter, and the older the better. That's the thing. Old, dirty, nasty peanut butter. This is not fit for human consumption. Not fit for. Ugh. So yeah. So we will take that. We'll take those, put them everywhere, put out the liquid tox, and these guys. These are some glue boards. These are amazing. You just some are scented in peanut butter, and it's very, very sticky. It's extremely sticky. Whatever sticks to it is on there. Yeah. So I like to keep these little things right here, so you can put it back and reuse it. And then of course the good old fashioned Victor snap trap. We all know this bad boy. Yes, we do, don't we? Oh yeah. Oh, that's evil. That's a big one. You can use the big ones are the T-Rex and the Victor and the glue boards. Now those I just showed you, I can also use those out in the woods for trapping. So yeah, that's how effective this stuff is. So when you're doing that, you throw out your liquid tox, and then you throw out your traps, and you throw out your glue boards, and then the fun happens. You walk around with a stick, and just smack. Because they're going to be running all over the place. Because now you've introduced all this food, all this, you've changed everything, and you're after it. And they're going to be going after it. And another thing that you do is you deny their entry, and deny their egress and their infill and exfil. You want to isolate, contain, and destroy. Yeah, I was very successful because I used what I learned in the Marine Corps against rats and other pests, and it worked out well, very well. So yeah, T-Rex traps, zip ties, glue boards, rotten peanut butter, liquid tox. Now, mind you, and there's other baits too. There's that you can get. Final block. It's a red block. It's got brodoficin. It's a thinner. So what this stuff does is it literally thins their blood out, and they literally bleed through their pores. The liquid tox as well. It just, and it also, when they die, they flatten out and they dry out, so there's no smell or stink. It's a little trick there that they learned, so that if it dies, like say it dies in the wall, you probably, it's going to just be an old dry carcass that won't be stinking up the joint. Yeah, so rats, dealing with rats, securing your preps in that nature. If you do have an infestation, or you have some kind of pest, bust out those traps and inspect. Get out your flashlight and inspect. See where they're coming in. See where they're going out. See where their nest is. Sometimes you can find their nest. Usually it's away somewhere, not in the structure. Usually that's out. They like to make burrows. They will go in roofs and hang out and live in roofs if there's insulation and stuff, and they'll make their little nest, and they'll take their flassings, they're chewing whatever they're chewing up, and they'll make a nice little ball nest for themselves, right in the wall, right in the insulation. They don't care. Yeah, they love it. They love it. So dealing with rats, mice on the other hand, mice can be, they're very curious, so they're going to be running all over the place, and they don't like to go far from their food, so they'll nest real close to their food, and they'll actually take food and bring it back to their nest, and other curious things like coins, freaking paper clips. I mean, just weird shit, and they just bring it back like pack rats. Well, not pack rats, but pack mouse. And then you got your house mouse, you got your field mouse, you got your kangaroo mouse. There's several types of mice, and they, if they're all a family unit, they will stay together for a long time. They will hang out together. Most mice like to just kind of just chill. Once again, they will do the same thing. They can extract water from whatever they're eating, even if it's dry. There is some moisture in that, and they will be able to extract it. So if you introduce a poisonous water source, then yeah, they will take advantage of it, especially if it's syrupy or like I said, liquid tox. Glue boards are very, very useful for mice. Rats, not so much, especially if they're big boys. I've literally seen rats get stuck on a glue board and do a push-up and take off and literally leave their whiskers and fur on the glue board. Yeah. Another thing about the T-Rex is sometimes they will, because they're very cautious, remember? So they'll kind of snap, and they'll be pulling back a nub, and sometimes you'll open it up and see a little rat hand in there. Like, oh, chances are he won't come back to that spot, and you'll have to move it. That's another thing is if they feel threatened in an area, they won't come back to it. Same thing with a squirrel. Same thing there. A lot of rodents are that nature. Big rodents. Mice don't give a shit. Mice will run across your face while you're asleep. They will, if you got crumbs in your pocket, they'll try to get to it. If they think they can get away with it. Mice are something that I've seen mice literally run a fucking restaurant while they were open with people inside in the lobby area, just chilling. You would just zip, 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 zip. Grab a French fry and take off. And finding them, they'll gnaw little holes everywhere and be gone. Mice can literally hide anywhere, and it's just they can be a challenge. But with the glue boards, taking away their food source, providing a poisonous food source for them with the final block or the liquid tox, and you can use some traps and baits with peanut butter. But it's good to see what they're eating. What if doing your inspections, looking at your preps, looking at your containers, and seeing what are they eating, and you inspect their poop, inspect their droppings, see what they're eating. It's best to do that with I used to have a little piece of Tupperware, and obviously gloves. Definitely wear gloves. You should be prepped up on your gloves, your PPE. You should be doing that. You should have that stuff. It's going to be very, very, very important to have plastic gloves, or disposable plastic gloves. I got these big, heavy-duty rubber gloves. We call them rig gloves because you wear them for rigging. Rigging like chemical, but don't try to grab them. Don't try to stab them, and because they're just going to run. They're going to mess you up. It's best if you can use a stick, take a broom handle and cut it off at a nice length. What you want to do is you take you want to measure from your hand to the ground. So because you're hitting something on the ground, so you want it just hitting the ground, the edge of it from standing, so you can just whack it. Moving the traps around, you got to be very careful not to stick your hands in there. I actually broke my finger on one of those T-Rex traps. That's how powerful they are. So they are no joke, and I've seen some big rats get taken by those T-Rex traps. Make sure that your storage area is clean, secured, sealed up in masonry, or if you're using wood or something, yeah. But always inspect it. You got to inspect the inside and the outside. And you should be doing that as you're rotating your stock, taking your little flashlight and always looking for, crumbs, always looking for droppings, always looking for flasks, any kind of gnawing, because they gnaw little things and they drop everywhere. They're just they're like beavers. Beavers is a rodent as well. So that's something that you have to do, and they're very, very clever, very, very clever. They will find ways to get to your stuff. So it starts with that. Cleanliness is next to godliness, and that's part of that too. You want to secure your shit from these little creatures. And that's how you do it. That's how you do it. So that thus concludes rats and mice, rodents. There's other things that we can get into. I don't know. I guess that pretty much covers everything. I've given you a lot. That should work for you. Always inspect, and that's part of the integrated pest management. If you have a hole, you should be securing that hole. You should be covering it up, securing it. Use masonry bit. That's another trick, is taking that Brillo pad. You can use the fine, or I like to use the real coarse, thick Brillo pad and get a lot of it. It's the stuff that it pulls apart. And you can buy other things like that, grates, metal grates, that you can staple, hardcore staple or nail into a hole and fix that hole. Because they'll go around it. They'll chew around that grate through another hole on the side of the grate or on the top of the grate or whatever. They will chew. If there's food inside and they know it, they will stop at nothing to get it. So getting that little sucker is paramount, because he will eat your stuff. He will give you diseases. So don't think you're going to try to like make a little snare and all that. Now use the traps, use the glue boards, and exclusion. Use the Brillo pads, use the spray foam. I've actually seen like masonry because they will chew through cinder block. Yeah, they'll take cinder block. They'll take the masonry mud and mix it with the Brillo pad and stuff it into the hole, and then boom, cover it back up, and that works pretty good. And then you're working on exclusion. You're trying to keep them out. You want them to stay out of your preps. You want to stay out. You want to exclude, isolate, and contain, and destroy. If they are in, isolate, contain, and then kill from the inside, and then push them out, and then exclude, and deny entry. They're always going to try to gain entry. So we're going to leave it at that. You got any questions, comments? Please feel free to ask me, email me if you wish, and I will try to come up with a solution for you. This is Mad Shad signing out.